Coming up on SportsCenter, the Red Sox appear even larger in the Yankees' rearview mirror. The Mets and Braves stare each other down from opposite ends of California, while on the court, the baldest and grayest 29-year-olds ever battle for the U.S. Open title. And, oh yeah, the NFL season started.
There's glory in the legends of this hard-muscle life, and there's poetry in each season made of sweat and strife. Winds whisper of high hopes. Victory is in the skies. A season awaits with glory in her eyes. One joins with many on summer's green field. Time to strive, to dare, for all not to yield.
Blitz is on. They pick it up. Bledsoe airs it out. Deep down the right side, and the catch is made. Inside the 10 to the 5. Touchdown. Testaverde down on the deck, and he is in a lot of pain. Short drop. Looking right past the right side of the end zone. Touchdown. Jeff Harrison.
Greetings. Welcome to SportsCenter with my new best friend, Rich Eisen. I'm Dan Patrick.
Baseball's pennant race is getting tighter as the schedule gets smaller, but first, a big blow for the Big Tuna's Super Bowl hopes.
The Jets unwillingly living up to the coach's battle cry this season. His motto is starting over. He even had T-shirts made up for the Jets to wear during training camp. Following last year's appearance in the AFC title game, Bill Parcells wanted to make sure complacency didn't seep into his team's 1999 aspirations. The Jets opened the season against the team Parcells guided to the Super Bowl 3 years ago. Parcells, Pete Carroll, former Jets coach, former Patriots coach, Drew Bledsoe back to pass, deep for Tony Simmons. He's got him. 58 yards later, the Patriots up 10-7 second quarter. Jets next possession, keep your eye on Vinny Testaverde. After the Curtis Martin fumble, Vinny plants, goes down untouched, and the Jets knew it was serious. Out for the year where they ruptured left Achilles. Parcells goes to the former Ohio State quarterback Tom Tupa, who's also his punter, looking for Keyshawn Johnson. Nice weapon to have. Jets up 14-10. Fourth quarter, 27-22 Patriots. Jets defense steps it up a notch. Brian Cox. Bill Parcells seems to find one of these guys to play on every one of his defenses. The spiritual leader. Brian Cox, 27 yards. They failed the two-point try, 28-27. Jets. Tom Tupa replaced by Rick Meyer. 3.5 minutes left. Meyer into traffic. Ty Law is there. Chris Slade on the deflection. Meyer's second pick. Patriots have the ball, and they take advantage. Adam Vinatieri. It's good. 23 yards out, and Pete Carroll has finally slayed the dragon. Patriots win it by the final of 30-28. Patriots beat their former coach for the first time in 4 tries. Testaverde was scheduled to undergo surgery Sunday night. Drew Bledsoe said, quote, "I feel terrible for Vinny. It's really disheartening on a personal level to see that happen." After the game, the Jets reacted to the loss of their all-pro QB.
I said it before, he's irreplaceable. You know, when you lose a guy like that on your team, you know, what the hell are you going to do? You know, you just got to kind of dig deep, and everybody just got to try and push and figure something out.
That's the way this game is. It's a very humbling game, and it's a game that can turn very quickly. And, you know, we've got 15 games to go, and we got to try to figure out a way to approach those.
Here's the remaining QBs on the Jets depth chart. Meyer, whose career winning percentage as a starter is remarkably similar to Testaverde's before he joined the Jets last season. Tupa, who last started at quarterback in 1991. And Ray Lucas, a Bill Parcells project who's never started an NFL game and has thrown just 7 career passes. To Atlanta for the sequel to last year's NFC title game. Gary Anderson remembers his field goal. So does Dennis Green. First attempt for Anderson. Shane Dronette blocks it. Recovered by Marty Carter. Anderson had made 40 consecutive regular season field goals. Second quarter, no score, but Randall Cunningham and Chris Carter change all of that. 17-7 Vikings. Fourth quarter, 17-14 Vikings. Gary Anderson on for another try. 30 yards out. Wide left. Dan Reeves breathes a sigh of relief, and Anderson can't believe it. Fourth quarter, Falcons still trail by 3. Chris Chandler gets sacked by Dwayne Clemens. Chandler goes down in an awkward position. He would have to be helped off the field with a strained right hamstring. After that drive stalled, Morton Anderson, 39-yard field goal to tie it up. Oh, wide left. Dan Reeves can't believe it. Neither can Morton Anderson. Two of the most reliable field goal kickers in history have a nightmare afternoon. But the Vikings get a little bit of revenge. 17-14 the final. Vikings get the win, but fell 43 points shy of Randy Moss's pregame prediction of the Vikings could score 60. Last season, Morton Anderson was 23 of 28 on field goal attempts and missed just twice in 17 attempts from inside the 40. The Falcons also guilty of 3 fumbles in this one. The Niners and the Jags collided in Jacksonville. 46 seconds left, first half. Niners knocking. So was Tony Brackens introducing himself to Steve Young. Niners down 6-3 at halftime. After a Jaguar field goal made it 9-3 Jacksonville, R.W. McCorders is stripped of the ball. Jason Kraft, the rookie, and he takes it back. 2-point conversion was good. Jaguars led 17-3. More problems. Jeff Garcia is in the game and picked off by Aaron Beasley, and Aaron Beasley is gone. 95-yard interception return. The Jacksonville Jaguars put a licking on the 49ers they haven't had in a long, long time. In fact, the Niners' worst loss since the 49-3 defeat to the Giants in the 1986 playoffs. New defensive coordinator Dom Capers devised a scheme that limited Steve Young to just 96 yards passing. Donald Hollis says a streak of 17 successful field goal attempts.
The Raiders in Green Bay, where Ray Rhodes made his debut as Packers head coach. Third quarter, a moment of trepidation for the coach and his quarterback. Brett Favre hits that thumb that he injured in preseason on the helmet of Russell, Maryland. X-rays later on showed no broken bones, but he would feel the effects of it. Favre said he could hardly feel the football during the final few moments of the game, but he had a feel for the game, no question. First play with $1:51 to go from their own 18 with no timeouts left, down 3 points. Dorsey Levin's 22-yard gain to the Packers 40. And then moments later, with 20 seconds left, Corey Bradford out at the 1. John Gruden stoic. On the next play, Favre buying some time. Jeff Thomason wide open, touchdown, game winner, 4th touchdown of the day for Brett Favre, and the Packers win 28-24. Number 4 rips off an 11-play, 82-yard drive in the final $1:51 to cap the 11th fourth quarter comeback and 14th game-winning drive of his career, and Favre did it with that aching thumb. Favre's game, as well as his emotions, seem to be in mid-season form.
I'm so drained right now.
Thank you, Brett.
Sorry, fellas.
Their futures will forever be linked thanks to their draft positions. Edgerrin James and Ricky Williams will take Ricky first because he was drafted second, or that's the way it was in the rundown. He made it to the opening night against Carolina after all. In the opening kickoff, Fred Weary hits Michael Bates, who coughs it up. Tyrone Drakeford picks it up, goes 20 yards for the touchdown, and that's the way the season began for these teams. 7-0 Saints. That's your score in the final seconds of the first quarter. Ricky Williams up the middle. Eric Davis tackles him. And that left ankle that he's been gimpy on all preseason is hurting him again. He did return for 2 series, but then left the game for good in the second quarter. 10 carries, 40 yards. Third quarter, 13-10 Saints. Billy Joe Hobart to a streaking Keith Poole, and he is gone. 67 yards. An outburst of offense for this game on one play right there as the Saints win 19-10. So Williams had just 10 carries, or 1 more carry than he had the entire preseason. The official diagnosis is a slight ankle sprain in a slightly different location than the one that sidelined him in the preseason. Our coverage on the Williams injury later in the show will be anything but slight. As for James, he made his pro debut against the Bills in a key AFC East matchup at home for the Colts. First quarter scoreless. James changes the score. Up the gut, he and the Colts on the board. 7-0. It's 14-6 Colts in the third. Peyton Manning play action with James. Finds Marvin Harrison 24 yards away. Second touchdown of the day for Harrison, 21-6 Colts. It's 24-14 Indy. Fourth quarter, under 4 minutes to play. Doug Flutie looking for Jonathan Linton. Instead finds Tony Blevin, who makes the catch and then gets up. He's barely touched All right, he's touched a couple times, but he does go the distance, 74 yards. Wade Phillips can just stand there and get grayer. 31-14 is the final. James ran 26 times for 112 yards in the touchdown. Manning tossed for 284 yards, 121 to Harrison, and 124 to E.G. Green. This marked only the third time in Colts history that the team had two 100-yard receivers and one 100-yard rusher in the same game. Now to tennis, where we did get our first All-American men's final at the U.S. Open in 3 years after all, just not the mix we expected. Andre Agassi, not against Pete Sampras, but Todd Martin, who got the nod over Sampras 2 months ago in the Davis Cup amidst much controversy and second-guessing. However, nobody doubted that Martin earned his appearance Sunday. It is the final of the U.S. Open. Martin's first Grand Slam final in 5 years. Agassi playing in his third Grand Slam final this year. We picked things up. The third set, 1 set apiece. Martin nearly gets his head taken off by Agassi at the net. Look out. Martin checking to see if his heart's still beating. You bet. This guy's all heart. Still in the third set. Martin, one of his 23 aces on the day. He takes a 2-1 lead off of Agassi. But Agassi forced a 5th set, first 5-set final in the U.S. Open since 1988. And Andre takes a 2-0 lead in the set by breaking Martin. Pardon me, too low. My bad. Agassi was on cruise control after breaking Martin. And that'll wrap it up. 6-4, 6-7, 6-7, 6-3, 6-2. And Andre wins a 5-setter in which he was never broken. He lost only 3 points on his serve in the 5th and decisive set. Agassi became the first man since John Newcomb in '73 to overcome a 2-1 deficit to win the final. An incredible finish to one of the better U.S. Opens you will see. Sal Paolantonio and Luke Jensen put a nice, neat little ribbon on it for us.
The oldest cliche in tennis is play the big points well. Well, for Andre Agassi, the numbers don't lie. This year, he saved 72% of the break points against him, best on the men's circuit. And in the Open Finals on Sunday against Todd Martin, he saved all 8 break points. And Martin couldn't break Agassi's serve.
You got to take care of your serve. And today was a perfect example of just when the situation called for it, I was willing to step up and actually hit my shots. And that's more of a reflection of just confidence and a lot of matches.
I thought just the relentless pressure that he put on me, not just with his serve, not just with his feet, not just with his returns, but just every game he seemed to be there.
All right, let's bring in Luke Jensen. Luke, high-quality final. What was the difference in this match?
Sal, in the third game of the 4th set, Andre Agassi was getting pushed around. Todd Martin was serving better, even hitting better ground strokes than Andre Agassi. But at that point, Andre really stood up and said, I refuse to lose.
When Pete Sampras went out with the injury, how tough was it for Agassi to deal with the pressure being the overwhelming favorite?
Sal, to go wire to wire, that's the toughest thing in sports. He was able to do it with good mental focus and concentration and that belief that this was his tournament.
All right, thanks, Luke. For Luke Jensen, I'm Sal Paolantonio. Let's go back to the studio.
Thank you, guys. Now to baseball. And the Red Sox, who are famous for late-season disappearing acts, are making something else vanish this year. New York's lead in the East. Boston stood 8.5 games behind the Yankees on August 30th, 6.5 games behind on September 9th, and 4.5 games behind heading into Sunday's series and season finale with New York. To the Bronx, Roger Clemens facing his old mates and running into some problems. Troy O'Leary in the 4th. Sends one to right. Reggie Jefferson is going to test Paul O'Neill's throw and live to tell about it. Joe Girardi can't hold on in the collision. Game tied at 1. In the 8th, still tied at 1. 2 men aboard. Darren Lewis, the little blooper. Bernie Williams can't come up with it. Trot Nixon scores. Clemens left the game upset after walking the next batter. 2-1 Sox. They would add a couple more and swept the series. 4-1 the final. Boston's first 3-game sweep of the Yankees in New York since '86. Clemens has dropped 3 straight for the first time since '93. Scott Brocious learned prior to the game his father, Maury, died of colon cancer. Former Yankee catfish Hunter was buried on Sunday. The A's in Tampa Bay for the weekend. Top of the first, Jason Jumby, gone. 463-foot blast. Second longest in Tropicana Field history. That storied history. A's up 2-0. In the 3rd, Matt Stairs has just left the building. His 34th, the A's, reminiscent of your weekend softball team, Some long ball action. The win moves Oakland 15 games over 500 for the first time in 7 years, but the win doesn't move the A's any closer to Boston. Art Howe said the turning point of the game was Jason Isringhausen's relief work in the 8th when he snuffed out a rally. Blue Jays and Detroit. In Detroit, Jays win at 5-3. Toronto's 4-4 road trip leaves them 6.5 games behind the Sox in the wild card race. 3 of Kelvin Escobar's 12 wins have come courtesy of the Tigers. Only 8 games remain at Tiger Stadium. So for the second straight day, the top 3 contenders for the wild card all won. Oakland 3 games behind the Red Sox. Blue Jays 6.5 back. But you know what? Boston's got to have higher aspirations than just the wild card. Boston trailing the Yankees by 3.5 games in the East.
Coming up, Sammy Sosa's chasing history while his team is trying to avoid making it. Dan will explain as only he can. A mistake by the Lake corrected as the Browns came back into existence Sunday night against the Steelers. And even the most steely NFL followers had to admit this was one of the best Cowboys-Redskins games you will see. You'll see the highlights next.
You are watching SportsCenter on ESPN.
Cash or charge?
Next, please.